Did you see the National 2 North results?
Oh, yes. Oh, National 2 North?
Yeah. Sedgley and Fylde.
Yeah, that's not the big story this week, though.
It is.
Why? What was it?
Sedgley won.
Yeah.
Fylde lost.
Yeah. So the biggest story is North Prem for me. You've seen that?
Hold this. Right. So these two lads don't know that I've been recording. I just wanted to prove to you that it's not just for show. It's not just for show. This is
so unfair. That was just back chat.
This is what we talk about all the time.
What else have you got on there, Tim? I dread to think.
Hello, EggChasers. It's the EggChasers Rugby Podcast, the podcast about rugby that doesn't take itself or the game too seriously, here in the Rugby Dungeon, to talk about domestic rugby matters, grassroots rugby matters. Not only are we the only podcast here with you 52 weeks of the year, for nearly 10 years now, but we are the only podcast that doesn't just say we care about grassroots rugby. When there's a story to hop on board with, we demonstrate it every single week, as we will right now. I want to hear about the North Prem then, JB. Go on.
It's not a nice story, actually. In fact, it's a really sad story. So,
I feel like I've
yeah.
So tell me about the North Prem, JB.
Thanks, Tim. So there is a grand old club called Kirby Lonsdale, and I don't know if you've seen this score.
In Cumbria.
So I played Kirby a fair few times. One of our best players at Talk H is from Kirby. His brother still plays there, actually. And we've had some absolute battles in the past. So there'd been this club which constantly are sort of either level 5, level 6, that kind of thing. So probably too good for level 6, not good enough for level 5. And I'd say the RFU are at fault for this, but they're not to blame, and I'll explain that in a second. But they lost this week to Blackburn, who have got their own story, which they're just doing phenomenally well. They just do things very well, and they've built an absolute powerhouse of a side. 190-0.
190
to 0.
Wow.
Now this should not happen.
So I've played in some one-sided games, winning and losing. To like over 100, anything around the 100 mark is like both teams are given up like halfway through because it's just pointless. Yeah. To get to 190, I've never seen anything like that.
There was a game in Wales which was called off, and I believe it was, I want to say it's Holyhead that were playing, and the score was similar to that, and it was the worst defeat in like Welsh rugby history.
What's the situation with the league table? Do Blackburn really need points difference?
Yeah, because they're right at the top of that table. Now, I couldn't tell you exactly who's top, but I think it's Blackburn, Lim, and Rosendale are fighting for the top 3. So they need something. Well, they've got 190 points. I'd say points difference now. Yeah,
because that's the only thing I can sort of defend that with from that point. Because there's also a point of view where I go, and hey, listen, maybe I'm being soft here, but there's an element where I go, even 20 minutes into the second half, I go, right, no, sir, we're just going to sit here and crack open a beer with these boys on the pitch for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. And I'll tell you why. This is level 5. So it's not level 8. It's not level 9. In my mind, level 5 is the absolute pinnacle of amateur rugby. You can't go any further not playing. If you're very lucky, and I mean this, you don't pay a penny to anybody, you might be able to crack level 5 as like a consistent team. But you need to be in a rugby hotbed. Maybe if you're really good. And even then, you'll probably come back down to level 6.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where Kirby are. Now, they are, I understand, paying some money. And the level of players that they're getting in, we're looking at people that are playing for like Garstang 3s and Vale 2, Vale 2.
I will back off a little bit because the state of the table in Regional 1 Northwest level 5 is Blackburn are in second position, played 19, 81 points. Top of the table, Lim played 20, 86 points.
Yeah.
So points difference could well make the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Lim, you're looking at this and going, points difference could be why we don't go up. What the hell happened here?
Yeah.
Well, let's hope they don't have to go to Kirby Lonsdale. So
well, yeah, if they've still got to play Kirby Lonsdale.
And actually, Lim's a team I don't pay any attention to, and they're literally down the road here. I really should do.
Nice part of the world as well.
It is. It's a great rugby club. Have you played there?
Yeah, I played there a few times.
Yeah, when I played there last, they just had their new pitches done, and they were so nice. I would happily go on holiday there.
It does feel, because you're on the Cheshire Plains.
It's gorgeous.
It's always sunnier out there. You're out of the city.
And they've got a very, very nice clubhouse too.
Bridgewater Canal goes out that way.
Lim do not play Kirkby Lonsdale. Their final two games are Manchester and Northwich. Manchester also play...
I think Manchester got a heavy defeat.
Also play Blackburn. My old team is now at level 5, or just...
I mean, they've done it a better way than they did it previously.
Yeah.
In a more sustainable way.
Yeah.
But yeah, level 5 is... So that's why I disagree with you about giving in level 5.
Oh, no, I totally understand it now. If I were Blackburn, I'd go, no.
You've got to do it.
Keep your foot on the accelerator. Let's go.
Yeah, so Kirby...
It's farcical, though.
Fired their coach, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's just sad, really. Now, why do I say it's the RFU's fault, but they're not to blame? Right? Because I think it was so misguided after COVID to limit promotion relegation. And I think one of the things we need to look at in the amateur ranks or the lower ranks is actually increased promotion relegation. There shouldn't be this situation where it's seen as almost a shameful event to be relegated. You've just got to find your level. Because what happens when you don't find your level, like Kirby are finding this year, like a very another very good outfit, Burnage are finding this year, is that you're just not playing the appropriate standard for you. Doesn't mean it's a bad club or mismanaged or anything. You just don't have the appropriate standard. So I think 3 teams should be going up, 4 teams should be going down, or however that works. There should be much more promotion relegation. Because the other side of this is, if you've got a club that's going up the table, it's hard to keep your players because everyone wants to play the appropriate level. And you don't have a massive window to keep your team together. Maybe most teams stay together, 4 years? A really good team will stay together about 4 years before it completely reinvents itself. So you do need the opportunity to be able to go up and come down as and when things dictate. I think it leads to a much healthier pyramid system.
Well, I tend to agree with that. You just have to find the way, whether it's you do it half seasons, you do shorter seasons, you do a period of almost like an amnesty to find your level, where you do a bigger league, like group 3 leagues together and have everyone play each other once, or some way of doing it.
There's also got to be a mechanism, I think, for teams to voluntarily go down. Because a lot of these teams must know. You have these absolute ludicrous situations where teams are avoiding going up. They're winning their league, but avoiding going up. Like they won't send their strongest team away or something like that. There was a story of a club in London who were doing this.
So they just want to, every season, they just want to win every game comfortably and then just throw a few games at the end of the season.
I think there are suspicions around Roslyn Park that they're very strong at home, but maybe not as strong as they want to be away. So they can beat whoever they want when they want, but they somehow never quite go up.
Convenient.
Yeah, very convenient.
Well, my boys Marlow did the job against Reading Abbey.
Did they get in? Get in.
Yeah, so they went on the road and picked up a win. So good on Marlow for that one.
Well, the story that I was breaking before, as you were surreptitiously recording us, Tim, was Sedgley Park, who hosted Wharfdale, very good club. But Sedgley are top of the league, unbeaten. Wharfdale, mid-table, won about as many as they've lost. Sedgley snuck a win 35-31 against Wharfdale. Fylde travelled to Tynedale. Fylde, who were in second place.
A long way to go.
Long way to go. Tynedale, again, mid-table, won about as many as they've lost. Fylde in second place. Tynedale 23, Fylde 12. So Fylde have actually now lost their 3rd game of the season, with Sedgley travelling to Fylde next weekend. And if Sedgley win that, it's
party time.
It will still probably... Sedgley will then be... If Sedgley win that, they'll probably be close to 10 points clear with a game in hand.
Get in.
Before we get into... I want to... Let's save your Titanic battle at level 7 for a little bit. Just before we move on to some Premiership rugby, just mention this. Marlborough played Reading yesterday.
Oh, yeah. The boys at Reading.
And it was 101 points to 3 for Marlborough. And I I like the story here, and I also partly because our EggChasers rugby team is connected to this story, our vets team. But I also like that Marlborough put this on their own social media channels. They put a photo of the game with a little comment that said, "Yesterday saw another win from Marlborough boys on the Common when they hosted Reading for the return leg of the league. Yes, Marlborough maintained their 100% winning streak." There's not many teams can say that at this point in the season, is there? And yes, they won by 101 points to 3. The true story of the day, though, was who showed up to represent the Reading side. A number of the normal first 15 for Reading were unavailable for the game, and so rather than forfeit it, lots of their younger players stepped up, and a couple of more mature players too. They made the trip and competed, never letting their heads go down and trying to slow Marlborough down. They showed true sportsmanship and the essence of rugby. Well done. They also had a first, where a father got to play a first-team game with his son. The father being, am I right, 51 years young?
Yeah, are we allowed to mention his nickname?
52.
No, I don't think he likes his nickname, so we won't.
Justin, aged 52, and his son Nathan became the first father and son duo to play for Reading first 15.
But not the first father and son duo to play for the EggChasers Sevens team, because they both played for us.
Yeah, they both played for us first.
So, unlucky. I mean, nice story, Reading, but you're not the first. Well done.
No, nice rugby values in action.
What was I going to mention? Something about that, but it's escaped me now. Never mind. So, would you like to know what happened in the world of
No, not yet. Yes, I would. Yeah, no, yes, I would. Yes, I would, just not yet, because we should hop around a little. I saw very little Premiership rugby.
I've watched.
Oh, you're
so
right.
much.
Yeah. Do you know what? I actually forgot we had to talk about the Premiership.
I have watched so much rugby this weekend.
Yes, I have.
So I watched Friday night. I watched
the best/worst game in the world.
Friday night.
Well,
Well,
my
actually,
God.
I feel sorry for JB because, like, You've defended Owen Farrell, and now you can't go at Pat Lam. Two of your favourite things to do.
I think JB will find a way.
Are you mad?
You can't. All right. Here's one thing: you can't go at Semi Radradra after that performance.
No, he was awesome.
He was
great.
outrageous.
What are you talking about?
He was great.
He was outrageous.
He wasn't outrageous. Like, he made a break. He
didn't make a break.
He made a break.
He was the difference.
He comfortably the difference. His offloading game. He was so dominant in attack and defence. He got both assists for the tries.
I mean, fine. Not something which I recognise. Look, Semi Radradra is a very good player. But he is not the thing that everyone makes him out to be. He's not that good. He's not the Finn Russell of centres. He's just not that. He's very good, though. He's very good.
He's like Finn Russell and Sonny Bill Williams.
Yeah, he's no Sonny Bill.
And Cheslin Colby all put together in one package.
Yeah, that's
that is exactly what he is.
That's how you're gaslit into believing.
No, that is what he is. That is what he is.
Yeah,
he's actually even better than that.
What? Yeah.
If ChatGPT wrote a program on those three things together, that's how good he is.
He'd just be Semi Radradra.
Yes.
Fine. Not something which I buy.
His beard's amazing as well.
Now that is undeniably true. And he looks great, to be fair to him.
His beard actually is so ludicrous. His hair is so tightly cropped, and this beard is so voluminous. It looks
He does look amazing. He does.
It's like, I want to ask, if I get the chance to interview him for a Man of the Match interview before he leaves, and I don't know if I will now. I don't know if I'll do a Bristol game now, but we'll see. Anyway, because they're not going to make the playoffs. Well, they could now. Anyway,
right, mathematically,
come on, mate.
Anyway, I want to ask him what product he puts in his beard because it's so shiny as well.
It is so shiny. Oh, what a man!
What a man!
Perfection. Anyway, go on to slag off Pat Lam, even though
and Pat Lam said it saved their season.
Right, well, I mean, this is ridiculous, right?
I mean, that is ludicrous.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with Pat Lam. He just says things which he doesn't mean, or he's not thought through. He just says he just shouts random things like love, or scrolls things on walls. Any normal man would accept that the season was over, a month ago or 2 months ago?
Yeah.
His season is not on the line now. He is nuts if he thinks his season is on the line now. He thinks that he's coming back from this. He's absolutely not.
They're 8 points off of the playoffs.
Isn't everybody, though?
They're 3 points off of eighth
Bathon,
position.
we can say that.
They're 3 points off Champions Cup spot. Which, again, I hate the fact that 8th spot in the Premiership goes into the Champions Cup. That is ludicrous.
Yes.
I hate it.
Agreed.
Anyway.
Well, according to Ultimate Rugby, they are in the Champions Cup. So let's have a look at the Premiership table.
Why are you back on Ultimate Rugby?
I like it.
It was deleted off your phone when we recorded the last podcast.
During the podcast, you have downloaded it.
Amazing.
You're like an addict.
Amazing. Can I just tell you what Ultimate Rugby tells me compared to the Premiership table? So Ultimate Rugby has Bristol on 15 games when they've actually played 14 games. How is Brian O'Driscoll getting this so wrong? And they're on 30.
Oh, so they might have had they must have had a game that didn't count, like as in a cancelled game.
Oh, right, yeah.
They played Wasps or Worcester.
They played 14, 31 points, 5 wins, 1 draw, and 8 defeats.
Yeah, let's be absolutely clear. They're not going anywhere near the playoffs. Anywhere near them. So
no, they're not.
Forget that.
Because they won this game, but they were.
It was such a bad game.
Yeah, they were not great by any stretch. They were so ill-disciplined. They so rarely got phases together.
And not only that, we're praising Pat Lam for beating the worst team in the league.
Yeah,
by 2 points.
The worst team in the league. And they're the worst team without their 2-star players. Like the only 2 players. So I was listening to the build-up of this on BBC Radio Bristol.
Okay, as one does.
As one does. And they had fans from both sides, and all of the Baths fans, the 2 players that they name-checked were Ollie Lawrence and Ted Hill. They're all like, a bit worried that we've not got Ollie Lawrence and Ted Hill. These 2 guys that belonged to Worcester a few months ago.
So that's the Baths.
That's their get-out clause.
Yeah, their get-out clause and their strategy for future success is basically being a vulture.
Yeah,
I could just imagine
with their billionaire owner being a vulture on ailing clubs.
Yeah, so when Leicester Tigers go, we need some more money, or we're going to go under. What do Bath go? Do Bath just say, "Go on, yes, go on, continue"?
They're like that guy with the yellow suit, the meme with the yellow suit, rubbing his hands, licking his lips.
Exactly. That their recruitment relies on other people going bankrupt. If Leicester go bankrupt, at least they'll get some good recruitment. I don't know what Bath are trying to achieve. That's the kindest thing I would say.
They've been making strides. They're not. I think they have. Yes, they've won 4 games.
Genuinely, the strides that they've made are recruiting Ollie Lawrence and Ted Hill.
Yeah,
that is the culmination.
No, they were okay. No, the strides they've made are recruiting Ollie Lawrence and Ted Hill, and they haven't lost any games by 60 points like they did last year.
Yeah,
they're competitive.
You're right.
They're not great, but they're always competitive.
So you're right, and that is a fair point. Like the defensive structure, they work hard in defence, and at the right time, not really in this game, they can get their driving maul going well.
Yeah.
The negatives, their attack. So they've got
Finn Russell next year.
Well, that will change things. It'll change
sanity.
everything. I mean, God knows what he's going to make of this team. But that team. So Piers Francis is a ball player. He's an international player. He was in the England World Cup squad. Cam Redpath, international player, ball player and athletic. Max Ajomo, ball player and athletic.
Brilliant.
De Glanville, ball player and athletic. Thokina Singer, he's enormous and rapid. What more do you want? And they can't do anything with any of them. They played so narrow in attack in the few occasions that they got the ball. How are they converting all that talent into that output? It's harder to make it that bad.
It goes back to the thing I was saying start this sort of breakdown of the game, which is, what on earth are they trying to do? And they're trying to play in a way that just does not suit the bits and pieces they've got. This is, in my mind, an absolute classic example of dreadful recruitment of a head coach. Because you've got these people together, this squad together, you're probably round about the salary cap. And you don't have the option to undo this squad because it is your squad. So if you bring in a guy like Van Gran, who, I'm not saying he's got total freedom in Munster because Munster has its own constraints, but you've got a hell of a lot more freedom in the Irish provinces to construct the team that you want rather than go into the Premiership. So they've got Van Gran because I guess he's a bit of a name, he's got a reputation, all the rest of it. But he's also got a very distinct style of rugby. Very distinct style. How that fits in with Finn Russell, remains.
I was just thinking as you were talking. I was thinking that's almost like the starting point for.
It's a disaster.
Starting point for a sitcom.
Yeah, so
Johan Van Gran and Finn Russell.
So in comes Van Gran. I was like, well, I don't need any of these. I don't need any of these pieces. I don't need them for anything. We're going to play my way. And what was very telling about the Bath selection is he tried to just sort of override what they had in Bath by picking this enormous bench and thinking, right, we'll win it in the last 10 minutes by bringing on the size. We'll rampage home. Does not work. Does not work. And the Bath selection process. It almost makes me feel sorry for Stuart Hooper. Almost. Not quite.
Not quite.
Because he went through something similar, didn't he? Which is like, he wants to do one thing, and then they bought Danny Cipriani. Now, whether Stuart Hooper was spineless enough to just say, yeah, this is a great idea, I don't know. Whether Van Gran has said, do you know what I need for my running game? Go on. Finn Russell. That did not make sense. Does not make any sense. So, I just don't think... it's just bad recruitment from start to finish. They need to invest in somebody who has the final say. And Van Gran, in fairness to him, should have the final say. Now, maybe this is his signing. Maybe it's going to work out great.
They've got someone who has the final say.
There is someone who has the final say, yeah.
On everything.
On everything.
Bruce Craig.
It's crazy. It's glorious, though, isn't it? I mean,
he can do whatever he wants with his money.
One of the amazing things about this game, and one of the reasons I enjoyed it so much, and I really did enjoy it, is because it's not often you can watch a professional rugby game and think, I could improve this. I could actually improve this.
Well, if you would ever take some pleasure, some schadenfreude in two teams doing badly at the moment, it is Bath and Bristol.
Well, I like Bath. I want them to do well at every opportunity. Bristol, not so much. I would love Bristol. Bristol needed a reinvention. Bath needed a reinvention. It can't come soon enough. And I think these two teams need to be a lesson to all the other Premiership fans that when you eventually come to the end of your tenure with your head coach, you need to think very carefully about who the next guy is, and being a big name is not going to cut it in the Premiership.
I'm just going to back up a second.
Okay.
So Bristol's... I'll count the Premiership, even though they've won. They beat Perpignan and Zebre in the Challenge Cup. But so those two games, their last 5 results: beat Bath away, beat Newcastle at home, beat Sale at home. Oh, that was the Rugby Cup. Sorry. Beat Bath away, beat Newcastle at home, lost by a point to Saracens, beat Perpignan and Zebre. Okay, it doesn't look as good now because I thought beating Sale was in that. I was going to say their last 5 results are really good. But they've won 2 in a row. Okay, fine.
Yeah, they're in the words of Dennis Green, they're exactly what we thought they were.
But they beat Quins by exactly the same scoreline. It's 15-12 on the day after Boxing Day. They managed to get a win. That was a good performance at Quins. They drew with Leicester. They only lost by a few points to Sale. They only lost by so they haven't been far off. I don't think they're as far off as you think they are.
Well, nobody is in the Premiership. I mean, that's kind of the point, isn't it? So, because you're never far off, the teams that do the best are the teams that put in the real effort to find there's little 5% here and there.
Yeah, but what I mean is, it was 1 year to the next when Wales won the Six Nations, when Wayne Pivac, who doesn't look nearly as questionable now as he did a few months ago, does he? When Wayne Pivac won the Six Nations, let me just repeat that. When Wayne Pivac won the Six Nations 2 years ago...
That's the thing that happened.
They narrowly won all those games, and there were a few lucky things like the red cards and stuff that came their way, and there was very little difference between the 2021 Wales team and the 2020 Wales team, who I think lost 3 or 4 of the matches, but they lost them all narrowly, and they just fell that side. And it can be the difference between Wales 2020 coming 5th and the difference between the Wales team that won the Six Nations was marginal.
I agree with that, but the other thing as well is in a 5-team league you do have you have a much greater chance of sort of randomness. Yeah. Whereas in a Premiership season,
that's fair.
It does wash out as to how good you really are.
Yeah.
And Bristol are woeful.
Your position at the end of the season reflects how good you've been across the season.
That is fair.
Across 21 or 22 games. 20 games now. That will count 11 teams.
Bristol and Bath. Bath should stick with Van Gran for another season. Or now they fire him after another season. Actually, just fire him anyway. Just fire him anyway, right? And I'll tell you
let Finn Russell run the show.
Just let Finn be in charge.
I'll tell you why. if you're not going to let him do all the signings, right? If he's just there to coach and do nothing else, he's a waste of time and a waste of money.
Yeah.
You've got to give him everything. Otherwise, just let him go.
And if you're going to give someone everything, do you want it to be that guy?
Maybe.
Get Michael Checker.
And now he's been linked to Bath for years.
That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
I said for years, I'd love to see Checker. Now, I don't think he'll be very good in the Premiership.
No, I think it'd be dreadful.
I'd love to see it. I want to find out.
That would be funny.
So the knock on Michael Checker is not his overall intelligence, which is meant to be sky high. Like, it's not his overall knowledge of the game. Again, incredible. But it's like his tactical acumen. Apparently, he does lack a little bit on like the tactical details.
Oh, you can just imagine him going.
Just get someone else to do it.
Just getting a whiteboard. You can imagine him with a whiteboard. Like I say, what a rugby brain. But I love this about Michael Checker. I can imagine him going up to a whiteboard with all his team sat around in a little auditorium, and he'll just write "effing kill him" on the on the board or something.
Tack this way.
I kind of love him.
He's a cool character.
He's a great character,
and he'd be good for the Premiership. I just don't think the Premiership is good for those sort of coaches.
So Bristol will feel they're in touch now with something, but the teams above them, mixed bag for them. Exeter, aren't they doing all right?
I love this game.
It was an entertaining game.
It was an absolute barnstormer.
24-22 win at home to Sale. Big result for Exeter.
I had no doubt Sale were winning this. Like, no doubt at all. Throughout the entire game.
Well, the way they started as well.
Yeah.
They were definitely going to win. They were going to walk it.
Sale, I just felt that there was no way Exeter could hurt Sale. They just had nothing in their armoury that could do it. Until Sale went down to 13 men. At which point, Josh Hodge looked like an absolute world. Now, he's been good for a number of weeks now. This isn't a one-off. He is a sublime runner, a sublime player. And against 13 men, he did exactly what I'd expect a player of Josh Hodge's quality to do. But after that, it was kind of debatable where Exeter were going to get any of their penetration from, any of their go forward from. They didn't look like they could hurt Sale, yet they managed to grind it out.
They struck while the iron was hot. That window with the 1 yellow card and the 2 yellow cards, they looked amazing.
Yeah, he did. It's like,
and then it was just an arm wrestle for the rest of the game.
I guess it's a lesson in precision, because when Exeter needed those points, they went and got them.
Yeah.
And that's basically the difference. I thought some of the Sale play was superb. Bevan Rod was great. I thought Doug Dale had a pretty decent game.
Yeah, a rulebook try was probably the best of the lot, even including those Josh Hodges. Bevan Rod. So I thought he had a great game. His athleticism, his scrummaging, his work rate, with one exception, his yellow card. He never should have got that yellow card. But it was exactly the right call.
It was right. Yeah, it was right call. I have no problem with that.
It was stupid from him, because he goes through the ruck, he puts his hands on the floor, and then he seems like he's realised. So Luke Pearce says, "No,
just roll away. Just
step away," and he kind of half steps away, and then takes out the 9. It's like, why? You've done the right thing. Like you didn't support your body weight, so you stopped, and then you've just taken out the 9 and stopped a very good attack from another Josh Hodge break, wasn't it?
Now, yeah. So I'll just say some nice things about Ewan Ashman, who I thought was exceptional.
He was great as well. Yeah, he really was.
Now let's say some negative things about Sale. So, Rob Dupree at 13. So he has proven me wrong with his time at 10. He has been very good for Sale at 10. At 13, he did exactly as I expected him to do at 13. There was no surprises. There was nothing that he did which I thought, that was unexpected. It was exactly the performance that I thought it'd be. And it's also exactly the performance that Exeter thought it'd be. And they ripped him to pieces.
The first line out,
Lord,
when they had Noel running, was it Witten or Catter, whoever it was, out the back to Noel running round in that 13 channel, and he just looked like he was setting concrete. Right, we're going to run our fast winger round the back past him.
So the way I think about Rob Dupree is, so there is a saying in politics for the Republican Party, and this is going to sound very harsh on Rob Dupree, but I think it's broadly correct, which is Republicans are stupid but they learn. And I feel that Rob Dupree had gone through that process at 10, and now he's starting all over again at 13.
But as Sanderson said, the only reason he was playing so well at 10 was because of his stint at 13.
Which is nonsense. I mean, like, is there any of that? Do you look at that performance at 13 and go, hang on a minute, he might not have done well at 13 today, but if we move him to 10 after playing like that, he is going to light it up.
It's the motivation to never get caught in the 13 channel again. That's why he wants to play so well at 10, so he never ever gets moved to 13 again.
Yeah, that must be it.
Northampton got a really good win.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, sorry.
Hang on.
Let's keep this moving, Tim. Let's keep this moving.
Ryan Mills, right? Ryan Mills. Let's just talk about him a second, right? Ryan Mills played this game. First start with George Ford. George Ford, do you want to talk about George Ford? England's 10 back as a starter.
Quite a game.
These two combined are going to be an awesome combination, except for one problem. Ryan Mills is the Manu Tuolangi, but for people who know what they're talking about. So Manu Tuolangi is this guy who everyone pins their hopes on. One day he'll be fit, and we'll see him for a prolonged period of time. He's going to run the show. If you know your rugby, you should think exactly the same thing about Ryan Mills, who is a player of unbelievable quality. And it's awesome that he got through the game today. If Sale keep this guy fit in anything like the proportions they kept Manu Tuolangi fit, they have got an absolutely exceptional player. And I think they'll have the best 10-12 combo in the entire league. I really think that. So fingers crossed that comes to fruition. And last but not least, spoke about Josh Hodge. He did amazing against 13 men, but against 15 men, I thought Joe Carpenter was really, really good. Really good.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Carpenter rulebook I thought was very good.
Yeah.
Took his try really well.
And other England stuff as well. Just watch out for Rafi, because when he came on, he made one or two errors, particularly down the blind side, but he is looking sharp. He's looking very, very, very quick.
Now, Sale have built themselves up a buffer. That was their 5th defeat. They've got 10 wins, though, so they're 8 points ahead of Northampton in 3rd place. However, it is getting quite interesting because Sale's final 5 fixtures are... if I can just get this... Oh, come on. Why is it not scrolling? There's a lot of away games for Sale to play.
Sail away.
Sail away. They go away to...
Home at Saracens.
Home at Saracens is the next game. Away to Irish. Away to Bristol. Away to Gloucester. Home to Newcastle. So as long as they pick up a win or two on the road... But if they lose to Saracens at home next week, it starts to get quite interesting. I think they will have enough. They've built up enough of a buffer, but so they've got to go away quite a lot. Northampton.
So they can definitely pick up a win away at Bristol.
Definitely.
And they they can pick up a win away at London Irish.
And they'll win at home
and
to Newcastle.
Falcons. So they've probably got enough.
So
but if they lose to Saracens and Saints go on the road and win at Bristol next week, then it could get down to a 3 or 4 point gap, and Northampton will then have it's all lots of ifs, obviously, but Northampton will then have Bath at home, Irish
5
away,
points.
Saracens at home, Newcastle away.
Newcastle away should be a good win.
So it gets interesting.
Well, look at Leicester's running, because I think Leicester have got a really nice running.
They've got lots of home games, but they're too far off to get top 4, I think. Oh no, they're not too far off to get top 4. Yeah, they're too far off to get top. They're definitely in the mix for 3rd or 4th.
But the point is, you really want a home. You've got to be top 2.
Yeah.
And
so,
Saracens and Sale.
Yeah.
Saracens might have even they're not quite mathematically.
Leicester have Bath at home,
far off.
Bath at home, Gloucester away, Bristol at home, Exeter at home, Quins at home.
Oof. Yeah, they're getting. Yeah, that should be okay for them. Yeah.
So Gloucester are very much looking over their shoulder.
Yeah, the team that have really impressed me, because they look like they were in the middle of nowhere, is Northampton. So
they always do this, though, don't they?
Don't they just? It's like a repeating record. They just do better towards the end of the season, and maybe it's because they're more. Maybe it's the ground. I mean, the obvious excuse is the ground, but maybe it's just they didn't need time to settle into that cohesive unit, which they undoubtedly are. I mean, if they get top 4 after sending Dan Bigger to France and then bringing in Finn Smith, I think that. I mean, that really is amazing. That really is amazing work.
Tommy Freeman's good at rugby.
Yep, that's a fact. That is a fact.
This weekend was one of those that it's a matchup that doesn't necessarily suit Northampton Saints, particularly when they're missing Laws and Ludlam, because Gloucester are very good in the tight five. They've got an outstanding line out and maul. They scored at least 2 of them this week. I've only seen the highlights of this game, didn't watch the
Jamal
full thing.
scored 2 tries.
And Sebastian Blake scored 2.
Get in.
And it's one that would be hard for Northampton Saints to win. But win it they did. And it won it quite comfortably. It was only a try in the last minute that got Gloucester 2 bonus points.
Yeah. I just worry about... I don't know. I just don't think... I think Northampton are very nicely built to keep making playoff places. So the way I'm thinking about Premiership now is as long as you're in the top 4 every year, you don't really have a problem because you eventually will win one.
But if you're coming in 3rd or 4th every year, that Northampton team is not built to win away semis.
No, they're not, are they? They're not. They can put up a lot of points though. So
they do.
Like Harlequins finished 4th. So if you're going to win the Premiership from 4th position, you've got. Hang on, am I lying?
No, Harlequins won it when they finished 4th because Bristol were top of the league and they were.
Yeah, that's right.
They went away to Bristol. They were 28-0 down after 28 minutes. Bristol were going to win 80 points to 0.
Easy.
The maths that's the way you run the numbers.
Yeah,
and I've run them 100 times now. That's the way the numbers play out.
Well, if you're
they cocked it. Bristol just cocked it up.
Yeah, it's interesting how it sort of pans out. So, like the more defensive teams tend to be more dominant during the season. But if you're going to win a playoff from 4th, you're probably best doing that by scoring points.
Yeah, that's
and
fair
lots
point.
of them.
And hope that Bristol finish top of the league, which is
fingers crossed.
It's not going to happen again anytime soon.
No, it's not.
What were you paying any interest or attention to Tommy Fury, Jake Paul?
Have you seen the script?
What?
I've seen you sent through the script.
You're joking.
It just reads as me. It reads as total nonsense.
So has this fight happened now?
Yeah.
Has it happened?
Well, when did it stop?
About a minute ago.
And what happened?
What round did it
Well,
stop
tell me
in?
what the script said.
All right.
The script you sent it through. The script is like the most nonsense I've ever seen.
Well, we don't know, do we?
Well, it could be proved totally wrong. But there was only there's
so it should have finished round
one
8.
detail on each round.
Yeah, it's not.
Each round's 3 minutes long. There's like one sentence for each round.
Yeah, it's fine. They've got to actually do some boxing. So if it didn't finish in round 8, and was it from a TKO, Tommy Fury? Damage to the eye.
TKO.
He did have a cut above his left eye.
Oh, here we go. Go on.
It went to the 8th round.
Did it go to the 8th round?
But then it went to the end of the 8th round, and it was a points decision.
Oh.
He got knocked down. He got knocked down in the final round.
No, let's see what it says. Yes, this is exactly what it says. Okay, what happened? So, do you want to know what the script says?
Go on.
I might. Okay, so round 1, fighter stock. So round 4, Fury seems to be having trouble with his left eye. Round 5, doctors determine Fury can continue. Round 8, final round. So are they going to do a rematch in Vegas? Because that's what... Is it Vegas?
Well, Tommy Fury better hope so, because no one's going to take him...
No, LA.
Seriously, as a if he can't beat a YouTuber. So...
Yeah.
So well, Jake Paul won. Is that points, or was that Tommy Fury on points?
So someone has pointed out the script. Tommy Fury's eye damage and falls down in the 8th round. They're following the script.
There you go. So, Phil, anything to say? Do you want to apologise now?
I guess that is conclusive, and I was totally wrong. It was scripted.
Is it only 8 rounds in the fight? No. Is it an 8-round fight?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Other than seeing that script that you sent through and kind of rolling my eyes knowingly.
So I'm going to talk about...
I don't really care.
I'm going to talk about CrossFit for a second. Is that okay with you boys?
Oh, mate, always. How'd you get on in the Open?
Not great, but I did get a good lift. I got a 105 kilogram thruster, but I think I've got 110 in me.
Nice.
That's a very good lift.
It's getting there.
Nice.
I don't want to talk about my thruster. I did quite well in the workout part.
Go on, you going to tell me about your thruster?
No, I'm not going to tell you about my thruster. It was pathetic.
Yeah, my overall workout was not good. So, what I was going to tell you is Tommy Fury worked out in my gym for about a month in the summer.
How I want to know, how small are his legs?
Because they're not from what I remember, they weren't tiny. He's not a big bloke, though. Like, he's not a big
Is he
bloke. Not really.
Because
He's brother of, right?
Yeah.
It's not cousin or...
Because Tyson Fury is enormous.
He's enormous.
Yeah, so I think it might be one of those things, because he's so lean, he doesn't look as tall as maybe he is, but he struck me as not particularly
Normally
tall.
works the other way. Like, someone's rotund, they look...
Yeah, look short.
So, though he
Yeah.
didn't strike me as particularly big.
I've
showed up.
genuinely no idea how big he is.
Very handsome bloke, I'll give him that. Very handsome. Surprisingly, very in shape for a professional athlete. Not great at CrossFit, but...
So he's only listed at 6 foot,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
whereas Tyson Fury is like
6'7", isn't
9, 8 or 9. That's Tyson Fury is listed as 6'9".
That's a big boy.
And he's big as well.
Yeah.
He's absolutely enormous.
It's like Roman Taufa size.
So anyway,
Yeah.
let's put Tommy Fury to one side.
Yes.
It's like the younger, not the youngest, the middle Chesham is 6'9".
Oh, by the way, I think we need to start using Chitoji.
Chitoji?
Chitoji.
Chesham and Itoji.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's just going to be in about a year's time. It's just going to be the portmanteau of the two England second rows is just going to be Chesham, because they're both going to be playing.
Yeah, they're both massive.
Itoji out, Chesham's in.
Itoji at 6 or something.
Itoji on the bench.
The mutant Weasleys in the second row.
So CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
I've heard rumours that the brand, I'm not going to say the brand, a very famous CrossFit brand has approached one of the top rugby agents in the business to assemble a CrossFit team of rugby players to compete in the off-season, or at least to do like a challenge. So it'll be interesting to see who they put forward. And I'm suggesting they should do something like a prop, a back row, a scrum half, and a winger. I think they should do like a 4.
I just think 3 flankers. Ben Earl's one of them. Ben Earl
is going to win the games, right?
Ben Earl would win the games.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then...
So Ben Earl wins the games, but then what you want is like the guy who's good at gymnastics, the guy who's good at lifting, the guy who's good at cardio.
Who's the most explosive? Henry Arundel. Like explosive speed.
Yeah, where does that get you in CrossFit, though?
Big quads.
Massive quads.
I don't know where that gets you in CrossFit, though.
Well, that'd be the like box jumps.
Yeah, true.
Cleans.
One-off lifts.
So I would have thought that the cleans and the power lift, the Olympic lifts, would be better off done by one of the big, like the bigger props.
Well, explosive prop.
Genge.
Yeah.
Genge.
Earl, Genge.
Nice.
And
what Willis?
You'd want like a real cardio beast, someone tall that, like, if they're rowing machines on it, they can just absolutely demolish
that's a great.
it.
So back row for the rower, but I was thinking you want to scrum off because they cover the most miles for the overall cardio. Like, and also you got to remember, like, body to weight is really important for burpees and
Pull-ups.
Pull-ups. Yeah, I don't even know what position.
I don't know. I think a back row with a massive engine.
And then the gymnastics.
Tall, long back row player.
Yeah, but are they going to be able to do all the ring stuff? That's why I think.
Yeah, because body weight is important for burpees and pull-ups and anything like that. And back rows, even someone like Ben Earl, he's 10 kg heavier than if he was competing in the games.
Yeah, so I was thinking, like,
maybe just carrying too much. Like, he'll be amazing at it, but
Will Evans would probably be really
someone
good.
light.
Will Evans. Yes, Will Evans. So I was trying to think who the. Do you know who I was thinking of then? I was thinking of the third choice Quinn's fly half.
Will Edwards.
Will Edwards.
I was also thinking of Will Edwards.
That's incredibly niched him.
Alex Cole. Every year, Northampton Saints do a. I can't remember what they call it, but they do a special run.
Oh, the hill run thing.
They do a special run. It's in honour of mobs. It's a mobs run thing, and it's a fitness thing they do in pre-season, but it honours the guys, or Edgar Mobbs and the guys who died in World War I believe, and they do this particular run, and Alex Coles has won it the last 2 years, and it's really grueling, and it involves carrying
things.
It involves carrying like a sandbag, I think, which might represent something. I think maybe someone carrying someone out off a battlefield. Anyway, they carry this thing, and Alex Coles has won it the last 2 years. So he's really long, he's very lean, and he's got an enormous engine.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
I still think Ben Earl's going to take some beating.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. Yeah. Tom Curry, I imagine, would be quite good.
Oh yeah, I'd love to watch
Tom
that.
Earl
That'd be
Cook,
really,
Curry,
really
Simmons, Willis.
Again, I mean, those big carrying back rows now are carrying so much extra weight.
Is it extra weight though? Is it because I don't tend to buy into this. If you're an international rugby player and you're massive, that weight's going to be good functional weight.
Not always.
Don Brandt.
In most cases,
Ben Earl,
in the vast majority of cases,
Ben
Earl and Tom Curry, that's good weight, that's functional weight.
It is, but if you've got enormous legs and you're doing pull-ups, like you need them for some things, but there's trade-offs there.
Of the guys that the guys that I have seen close up, the sort of body shape I think would do really well, like a Byron McGuigan, who's just like lean, natural body weight, not overly stacked, really fit. I think he'd be pretty good. So, the centres apparently in most rugby clubs are the ones that can lift the most explosively.
Someone like Marchant.
Yes, Marchant.
Oh, Marchant would be good. Oh, he'd be good.
There are some absolute specimens out there. So, I talked to a fair few guys who've retired, and I forget that I'm just talking to ex-super athletes. And like the weights that they are telling me that they clean or they snatch, for me, is like way above what I can do. And I'm a relatively good amateur athlete. And these guys have been retired for 10 years and they're in their 40s and they're still smashing it. So what must be in the Premiership lurking? I mean, this CrossFit brand has put, they've said some interesting things about how hard CrossFit is. I'm pretty certain there's a handful of Premiership players, in fact, if not a lot of them, who would absolutely destroy it.
Yeah. CrossFit gets a bad name because, and I actually agree with this, they do like heavy weights for reps, which is...
It's not that heavy. What's the heaviest weight that we do for reps? 60?
Well, last year in the Open, do you remember the first workout in the Open? It was like 10 deadlifts and then 10 burpee over the bars.
110 kilograms?
No, 100. It was 100 kgs.
Yeah.
10 deadlifts and 10 burpee over the bar, and then you did that again and again and again.
Yeah, there's a ladder up and ladder down, wasn't it?
Ladder up and ladder down. I think I ended up doing, in a 15-minute workout, I did 100 deadlifts of 100 kilos, which is ludicrous.
I think it's awesome.
My back was blown up. It's pointless. That does nothing.
That's the game, isn't it?
It does nothing. But that's why CrossFit has a bad name, because it does stuff like that.
When you say does nothing, it's not meant to do anything. It's not meant to do anything. That is just what you've got to do.
Yeah, I know, but that's why CrossFit gets a bad name.
I thought that was good. I like that workout.
I did really well in that workout.
I quite like that workout as well.
Oh yeah, you did that one, didn't you?
Yeah, I can't remember what I got in it.
You smashed it.
But that was hard.
Yeah.
But it's meant to be hard.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, isn't it?
I was quite good at that one, but it was horrible. But I understand why people look at that and go, why would you want to lift 100 kilos 100 times on your
Why would you want to do anything?
With your poor back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's the speed thing, because I'll often, like, if I go to a hotel gym or something and you're fortunate enough to have it, just do 100 kg deadlift, so 10 sets of 10 on 100 kg, but with like appropriate rest and you're not doing burpees like that. That's quite a nice little workout.
I'm not doing it for time, so you're bouncing it off the floor.
When you're doing it, that's when you risk blowing your back out.
No, just get conditioned to do it. That's what I'd say. So yeah. Oh, and whilst we're talking about Billy Vinapola, apparently he's off to Racing next week. Some news for you.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting to see Steve Borthwick come out and say, I knew this would be the next domino that would fall. Steve Borthwick coming out and just planting the seed that need to drop the overseas must play in the Premiership rule for England players.
Absolutely, you must.
Would you feel? I agree, and we've been saying this since before this financial issue, certainly. But if I just signed a new contract with a club, which I knew was less money than I could have earned, had I left all options on the table, I'd be really pissed off.
You'd be pissed off.
Of course you would. Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the Trevor Davidson situation, isn't it, where he got offered a lot of money to go and play for Northampton, and Bristol said, said no, you can't go. And I really hate that, because everybody involved in this deal knows it's a limited career, and that was his chance to make some big money. And Newcastle said, no, you can't do it. But that is the game, unfortunately. Sometimes you need some luck and some good timing, and he didn't. And I suppose there's going to be other lads who have signed deals And that's not going to be good timing. And the only thing you can do, I'm sure we'll all agree, is go to become a farm manager in South Africa and then sign for Montpellier.
It is a tough one for Trevor Davidson, but equally,
retire.
you understand Newcastle's point of view. It's like, no, we signed a contract with you that you were happy to sign.
The funny part about this Newcastle business is they were more than happy to get rid of McGuigan.
Because he's on more money.
And they have Blamire.
But I just wonder, like, if you're not taking the league seriously, well, they're not, and they're not going to spend up to salary cap, why go through the dog and pony show of keeping players who are no longer going to play hard for you? I mean, would you play hard for Newcastle if they'd just deprived you of your big payday? I wouldn't. I mean, maybe that's a stain on my character, but I wouldn't.
Then the flip side of that is Trevor Davidson's not going to get the contract he wants
elsewhere
next year,
and be competing for the England money,
or be competing for England money.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think
it is a bit. If you're not competing for England money, then you are shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's going to compete for England money if he's not seen. And Northampton. The sad fact of the matter is, Sale will tell you this, but for the longest time, if you were at Sale, you just didn't get looked at for England.
That's such a load of bollocks.
Do you know how I know it's not?
It's such a load of bollocks.
Do you know how I know it's not bollocks?
Because Steve Diamond said it.
Correct.
And what I always used to say,
that's precisely how I know it is bollocks.
Whenever you used to say it, I'd say, okay, so which players aren't being picked that should be? And
All
I
of them.
can't even remember the name. You go, this player. It's like, well,
Mike Haley.
that's a Mike Haley. Yeah.
Will Addison.
Will Addison,
Tom
exactly.
Brady.
The
Reid.
only reason Will Addison isn't an England international. If Will Addison was at another club, he would be an England international.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
What a load of bollocks!
He'd be an Irish, if only they were a different club, there'd be Irish internationals.
That was a Steve. That was. You see, I love Steve Diamond, but that was. And Steve Diamond, if that fired his players up and got them in the right mental spot, but that was there was no merit. There was no merit in
it's
that.
only since Sale have got really good that people have started looking at the players. So I think if you go up to Newcastle, it's very unlikely you're going to get.
Yeah,
I think that is. I think that is true.
Mark Wilson, Jamie Blamire, George McGuigan.
They've not picked
Trevor Davison.
I mean, they've not picked Carl Ferns, and that's a travesty.
I agree with you. That at prop,
Callum Chick,
another one.
Just on
Gary Graham
playing outside of England. I was very strongly no. You should have to play in England for two reasons. One, I want to see the strongest Premiership, not just because I'm a fan of the Premiership, but also because I think a stronger Premiership ultimately will lead to a stronger England team. And the second point is, I don't like the idea. I mean, it will happen, and other players and countries manage it, but where Parise used to have to go and be put through the meat grinder on the rest weekends of the Six Nations, and you play the week before, and so half your team are unavailable for the full training camp before, and then are playing games in between the Six Nations. I don't think that's conducive to the best performance. But now, when the Premiership salary cap is less than half what it is in France, you just can't have those two. It's one or the other. Yep. You have to have a comparable, maybe not exactly the same, comparable overall salary cap, comparable money, or you've got to allow people to play elsewhere and get picked for England. You can't have...
It's an either-or.
Yeah.
Well, look, it wasn't...
You can't have both.
It wasn't anything more to me other than an economics question. And you can't deny market forces. I knew this was going to happen from day one. And it's not because the rule itself is designed to protect the Premiership, and it makes the Premiership weaker. Because what ends up happening is, as the comparative wage for these players goes up in, say, France, the English clubs still have to make up the difference between what the English money is paying them and then the rest of the salary. So say England gives them £100,000 or £250,000 or whatever that number is. The club still has to make up the balance. So it's only a matter of time if they froze the salary cap and France's salary cap carries on increasing, the pressure will get too much. And not only that, it's like the Johnny Sexton thing, which we mentioned on the last podcast, which is you're now paying a huge amount of salary cap to a lad that you probably don't see that much. I mean, how many times has Courtney Laws played for Northampton this year? 4 times. How much of the salary cap does he use up? A lot. And then he adds the England money. So these things just are not sustainable. The Premiership, if they want to keep their players, they need to up the salary cap. And that's not a possibility.
Yeah, that is... You've got to do one or the other.
Yeah.
You've got to up the salary cap if you want to keep them.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're just going to see the best talent drain away. Because like Carl Ferns is a great example, but Sam Simmons would be the same. All the guys who are going to France now, Zach Mercer, another one. If you're getting offered double, probably genuinely double, like an offer in UK or England of 300k, an offer in France of 600k, that with uncertain additional, say, 200k of England credits, but it is not guaranteed. With the shortness of the career, you'd be foolish to stick around. It would only be for sentimentality.
As always, I mean, and there's Steve Bolton's just planted this seed. I suspect that the clamouring will grow for this. It's just another example of, I was going to say weak administration. It's not weak administration. It's just administration of rugby without long-term thinking, because, the longer term, if it changes, and I think it will, that you can play for England and also play in the top 14, for example, when that changes, that's fine, and 5 years down the line, that'll all work itself out. But the short-term angst that's going to cause if it happened now for next season is like Zach Mercer's probably going, I'm settled in Montpellier. They would have paid me whatever I wanted because I've been awesome. Yeah, and I won the top 14 for them, and I'm moving back.
Being forced.
And now I'm moving back, and the guys that are going and taking the wedge that I've left in France. I can now.
Sam Simmons is now having my money.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Yeah, I don't disagree. So, to think about this, you do it in multiple ways, really. If the Premiership wanted to compete with France, you lift the salary cap, or in fact, you even get rid of the salary cap, and you rely on owners just to pay money. There are some owners that would do that, and potentially, rising tide lifts all the boats, and everyone else sort of competes, and the league gets more popular, so on and so forth. I think that's a completely reasonable way to grow the game if that's the way you want to do it. I love the salary cap, though, and I love having it restricted as it is at the moment, because the conversation we had about the coaching teams and how we put stuff together and the value you got to squeeze out, that is undeniably valuable for not growing the game, which is this horrible term, which means all sorts of different things, but progressing the game. That's when you find real innovation in the game. It's when you get real advances.
JB's a rugby progressive.
Yeah, I knew you were all about progressive rugby.
Exactly, styles and all the interesting stuff people care about. But there is a trade-off.
Yes. It's all trade-offs all the way down.
So come on then, Tok H, how's it going in your level 7? Because we've got the parish of Tarleton, who are now, I think, probably out of the race to win the league now, aren't they?
Yes. They're not. I mean, we could slip up. We have the easiest of all the run-ins. We have 3 games left. We've got to make up 5 points. So we're equal on points with the Liverpool St Helens. They have 1 game in hand. So if they win their extra game in hand by any amount or get a bonus point, they win the league. Simple as that. But they have Widnes,
tough,
Tarleton.
They're playing 3rd and 4th in their final in 2 of their final 4 games.
And also Aspel, who beat us.
Yeah, right? Very handy team.
So they've got it all to do. I've got a feeling they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to win all the games, but I think they're going to scrape together enough points to deny us. We have. So
it's just to be clear, Liverpool St Helens, top of the table, played 18, won 14, 69 points. Didsbury Tok H, 2nd position, played 19. 14 wins, 69 points. So Tarleton, not out of it. They're 6 points behind, though, so I think that's...
Yeah, I mean, it's unlikely they're going to win this league.
They need you to slip up.
So we're not guaranteed promotion in second either. And that would be an almighty disaster. I mean, that would be an I can't see how we wouldn't get promoted.
And with this as the backdrop of JB's, as it stands, final game...
Indeed.
On Saturday the 18th of March, Super Saturday... 2:15 kickoff. Can you change that kickoff so that it doesn't interfere with the rugby?
Midday kickoff.
Yes, I probably think we could.
Well, because wouldn't that be in everyone's interest? And actually, just on this point, before we'll talk about.
Have you got Sefton?
Yes, we'll talk about.
They might not show up.
Home walkover.
We'll talk about the. I don't want to take you off Tok H in a second, but we did get an email to this very point, and I apologise for looking for it now. Christopher, thank you very much for your email. Contact eggchasers@gmail.com. And the subject of this email is a way to frack the pie with amateur players.
Ooh, hello.
He says, much pod love. I'm working under the delusion that the RFU want to grow participation in the men's game. Yeah, well, that isn't... That you'd think that would be a fair assumption, but...
Yeah, or cut participation in the men's game, so percentage-wise you grow it in the women's game, which I think is probably what they're up to.
He said... I don't know what sparked this today, but I looked up amateur football kick-off times, and it seems they're at 10 a.m, 12 p.m, and 2 p.m. I wonder why the FA have most amateur football games in the morning. I wonder if it's because it means the vast majority for the 10 and 12 kick-offs can then be free to either see the pros later in the day, either in the pub, at home, or in the stadium, meaning more money in the bank for the pro game. Do you think swapping the kick-off time for men's grassroots games from 3 p.m. to similar times as football, 10 a.m, 12 p.m, for example, could mean everyone is showered in the clubhouse with the pros on the big screen in the afternoon at home with BT Sport or an international game, or even able to get to a live game itself? Could this get people who love playing the sport watching it as well? Those playing the under-18 game are already used to playing in the morning on Sundays. You'd be just simply changing the day.
Maybe.
I think for Six Nations...
it seems bonkers that Didsbury Toc H wouldn't want a 12 p.m. kickoff.
Hang on. Tommy Fury beat Jake Paul.
Yeah, on points.
I thought he said he lost to Jake Paul.
No, he beat him on points. But he did get a cut above his eye and got knocked down in the final round.
Oh, right, okay.
So
Sorry. Did you hear it that way?
I can't remember what
cares?
What I heard.
Who cares about it?
I might have said it wrongly, sorry.
I care about that fight so little.
So little.
Yeah, so little. The script was clearly true and accurate.
Fine. Definitely true.
Yeah. So I guess I should apologise to you now.
It does sound like it, but
let's forget it.
Yeah,
let's blow past it.
Just as a case in point, but would that I
like 3 o'clock and 2:15. So
I know you like that, but
you also like watching Six Nations rugby,
and
don't
you
you?
also like having you also want your rugby club to be full and sell loads of beers over the bar and become a destination, right?
Yeah, I think we have had early kickoffs in the past to facilitate this. So I think we could do it. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Well, I just mean generally, it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I guess it does.
On a Super Saturday, as more than any other day.
Well, so it's only England that really has this problem because Wales and Scotland and Ireland just cancel everything. So,
is that right?
Yeah, so I never played Six Nations in Wales because they were relying on...
they just don't.
Yeah, they're relying on my ticket money to go down to Wales and then go on to Cardiff and buy beers. So it wasn't really a thing. It's only England because it's so massive that make us play. So, and also, a lot of the lads disappeared to Twickenham anyway, so it makes a difference. But yeah, I'm sure we have done it before, and I'd be open to doing it again. And
can you ask someone about us being able to broadcast your VO system with me and Phil doing commentary?
I mean, I can give you permission to do that.
Your final
Here's
game.
the thing, right, Tim?
No, but we need someone technically to logistically make it happen. I'm not going to turn up and do.
Oh, what? Do you think we've got sound engineers in Didsbury?
No, well, if they want the
they don't
the promotion.
They couldn't care less
of the club. Really, come on. That's probably the only reason they tolerate you is all the promotion they get.
No, they tolerate me for dominating scrums. Right. So the idea that this is going to be some sort of celebration, it's not. I don't want to retire. I love playing this sport. I love it. It's been taken away from me. It should be more like everyone. Okay, unless you're dressing in black, right?
Yeah,
no,
that's it.
No,
well, that's it. We're marking. Yeah,
I don't.
We're
I'm phenomenally uncomfortable with this whole idea.
It's a funeral for your rugby career.
Yeah, awful. The whole thing's awful. I'll have no pleasure in finishing that game. I'll have no pleasure in it whatsoever. Actually, so
well, that's it. You should make a stand. Like JB, if you want to make your point, this is a great way to make your point. Like it's a powerful way to make your point.
Not really. It just looks like I'm having a tantrum and walking away.
Yeah, throwing your toys out of the prom.
According to some, I mean, if the best way to make a point is to get elected to the RFU council,
yes,
and then absolutely play hell with the internal workings of the RFU.
They're going to love you, aren't they?
I just can't understand. The more I talk to clubs around the county and actually around the nation regarding their RFU councillor, the more I realise they've all been asleep at the wheel. Like, I had a message from a friend of mine who said last week, "You're absolutely right. He's done loads of stuff in committees and county level, and he's never even heard from his councillor. never even heard. So things have got to drastically change. So that's the way that I think that I make a difference. And also,
make rugby great again.
yeah, here's a genuine point. So I'm not saying if I got on the council, I would never go to.
When you get on the council,
If I got on the council, I would never go to an international game. But I don't think I'd go when there's rugby being played in Lancashire. I mean, if Lancashire clubs are playing, you should be at a Lancashire club watching your Lancashire rugby. What on earth are you doing watching the international game at Twickenham? What good is that to anyone? You can watch it on TV.
You've got to sample England's official champagne provider,
Exactly.
Bollinger.
Yeah, I mean,
you've got to go and make sure. You've got to be able to report back to your constituent bodies that the Bollinger was at the right cool temperature.
Yes.
in the Bollinger
by the way,
tent.
I am 100% into hospitality. If you think I'm not, you've got the wrong guy. I am so into hospitality. But I'm not into it over going to my own rugby club. I would much rather go and watch Widnes LSH play. I would rather do that every weekend running than go to Twickenham.
I like
Six
that the
Nations.
campaigning has started because
Yeah.
obviously before the podcast, JB was saying how much he couldn't wait to get to Twickers.
When's the last time that I went to Twickenham?
I'm joking, mate. I'm joking.
To watch a live game. It just does not interest me. But I will definitely go to watch, well, whoever it is, really. That's far more interesting. So anyway,
Tonga v Spain in Malaga.
now we're talking. Yeah, that's how little I care about going to Twickenham. The last Six Nations have been Tonga, Spain, Georgia, Romania,
Yeah.
Germany.
We did Germany, Spain.
Germany,
we
Hong Kong.
tried to go and watch Russia versus Lisbon. There was Russia
yes,
versus
of course.
Portugal in Lisbon, but damn, Putin invaded the week before.
Why didn't you just leave it 2 weeks?
Yeah,
What difference would it make?
terrible.
So, so there you go. So that's how I make the difference. I get on the RFU council and we get this damn thing rescinded. Not for me, because it's too late for me now, but for everyone else who's coming up behind.
Amen.
Right, I'm just aware that I've got to leave for a train in about 5 hours.
Go.
But other results.
Oh, sorry. Before you carry on, we won, so we can move on now.
Yeah, Stock Age.
Yeah.
Talk. Tigers narrowly beat London Irish 25-22 thanks
Yeah,
to
good
two
result,
late Andre Pollard penalties.
Yeah.
I don't know much about this, but Chandler Cunningham South apparently chose to play for Irish rather than England under 20s.
Really?
Don't know any more than that, but he did. Or certainly he was playing for London Irish. Not
How did
England
England under 20s get on?
Hammered Wales.
Oh,
A couple of good tries. The fullback Sam Harris and the left wing, whose name I can't remember, he looks really dangerous. So yeah, they've got some good players. In other games, my beloved Ulster travelled to Durban.
How did that go?
They won.
Sharks, it was 31-24. I think South Africa are in a training camp at the moment. I think
They are.
Ah.
They are.
So-
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so the Sharks obviously missed basically an international pack. So Ulster won, which is a good win. It was the rearranged fixture because URC generally don't play. And then did you see anything of Super Rugby?
No.
Yeah. I
Go on.
watched a bit of the Brumbies game.
Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, good work. So I've not watched anything live. I just didn't
Where
get a
would one
chance.
watch Brumbies play?
It was
on Sky Sports.
Sky
Oh,
Sports.
is it back? Is it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
back.
Did it
It's
go away?
Started last weekend. It was. There's still the same thing. It's lots of wild play, which would just get absolutely. If they try to play it like that in the Champions Cup, they'll just get absolutely munched.
Closed down.
Yeah, by
Right.
Leinster or.
I always take a particular interest in the New Zealand teams.
Oh yeah, those look good. Oh, the Chiefs result.
So, Chiefs' result is astonishing.
Yeah.
Chiefs travelled to, I don't think it was actually played in Christchurch, but they travelled to Crusader territory, whatever the name of that region is.
Jerusalem.
And battered the three-time reigning champs Crusaders. 31-10.
With Gatland at the helm. Oh no.
Not yet. Now Gatland has left
Yeah.
them. DMAC is back from Japan, playing 10, looking ace. So
Excellent.
that result, my beloved Hurricanes travelled to Queensland. Again, it wasn't in Brisbane. Not quite sure where it was, but hammered the Reds. Hurricanes hammered the Reds, and probably the best result of the weekend. JB, your beloved Blues.
Oh yeah.
Auckland Blues, who are absolutely stacked. Their lineup is outrageous. They took apart Tim's beloved Highlanders.
Sorry, Tim.
60 points to...
Hey, Tim, are you going to get one of the
20.
Highlanders? I was trying to arrange this. The lumber jackets that they wear.
I need one of
They
them.
are cool.
Are they still wearing them?
Don't know, but it's kind of like coming to the end of summer now, isn't it? So
I've been watching Yellowstone. I want to be a cowboy.
Do you?
So I've got a pair.
You're thinking Brokeback Mountain, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, if it's
I've always wanted a pair of cowboy boots. Always wanted a pair of custom cowboy boots.
yeah, no,
With a big heel on as well.
no. Actually, it's weird. I'm sort of in between because I know. Is it? Yeah, no. I've got like rancher boots. My Red Wing Iron Rangers.
Are they rancher?
Them.
No, are they?
No, they're not. They're logging boots.
Yeah, logging boots, aren't
actually,
they?
I was going to say
Logging,
I'm mixing it up because I want to be a cowboy, but I kind of want to be a logger.
Nothing
as well.
wrong with being a logger, being an Oregon-based logger.
Hard men.
Yeah, very, very tough man. I would 100%.
Oh, I was absolutely sorry. I don't want to
No,
Phil
no,
needs to go.
no.
I was absolutely devastated. So our cat, there's another cat which comes into our back garden, and the back door was shut. So our cat just goes absolutely mental when this other cat comes in and can't be bothered to go around to the cat flap to get it out. So it just stands at the window and just goes for it and just scratches the window. I'd taken off my shoes. I'd cleaned them.
Oh no!
I'd put the new whack cream on them, the moisturiser on my boots. I'd sat them there with the shoe trees in them by the back door, and the cat was scratching the window and just scratched a deep cut in my Iron Rangers.
No.
Do you know, I would throw that cat in a wood chipper. So I did. I'd buy a wood chipper just for that cat.
I was devastated.
Oh, heartbreaking, Tim.
Yeah.
Well, when we're on cat and boot stories, maybe
Yeah.
maybe we're at the end of a podcast. I don't know.
JB,
Yeah.
the Blues team. Look at the Blues team.
I
It's
promise you, I will look at it between now and next podcast.
I just will say also, Major League Rugby is on there. You can watch every game on the app.
Great. Can't wait.
Well done. New York Ironworkers are 2 from 2. And my poor beloved Nola Gold are 0-2.
No.
But
God.
they'll be back.
And the Gilgronis and Giltinis both folded, didn't they?
Yes.
With some unusual...
Nothing's ever said about that.
Yeah. Some inconsistent financials, perhaps. But we don't really know what.
But the Chicago Hounds are the new team, so there we go. We've got somewhere to go there.
Yes.
On a nice...
Love to go back to Chicago.
On a nice business trip.
Exactly. Right. Wrap this up. I'm knackered.
There's stuff we've missed, but whatever. that's your
I
lot.
was going to say lots of nice things about my second favourite club in the league, Old Winians, but you've kind of made me run out of time now, so
No.
that was that.
I like their kit.
Do it next week.
I like their kit. Thin,
Great, it is a
thin
great
red and white
kit.
stripes. It's classic.
Yeah.
Why do you think, just a quick question for you, so Old Winians, I should ask someone from Old Winians this, why do their main rival is Oldham, okay, because location, but they play in identical kits.
Maybe that's the rivalry.
Yeah, but there must be some link there. And those identical kits look identical to the Lancashire kit. So they both play in Lancashire kits.
Very
effectively.
thin red and white hoops.
Yeah, but with the blue shoulder.
Yeah, with the blue shot, with the blue detail.
I need to find that out because I don't know the answer to it.
I bet there is some history there.
Yeah, must be.
Interesting. Right, that's your lot.